standalone approach to deploy the Terraform resources for AKS Construction Set. So before going deeper, then this is the deployment of the construction set for the online landing zone of enterprise scale. What that means is the online landing zone is dedicated for the applications that are public facing. So they are expected to have a public IP that allows the public traffic to go into a application gateway first. So once it's past the web application firewall layers, then it would be forwarded into a AKS cluster's ingress controller that is traffic. So let's go ahead and actually look into how do we deploy this. So there is a number of configurations file that is called the Terraform variables file, TFVars. So the Terraform variables file is essentially a infrastructure as a code declarations where we have a number of global settings that is defining which regions that we are going to apply to, and the resource groups, and then what are the AKS configurations that we are going to put. For example, some monitoring add-ons, versioning, node pools, and whatnot. Right. So here, what you can see at the global settings, I have only one region right now, that is Southeast Asia. So if I want to actually restrict to 2 regions, then I could also add an additional region 2 that is pointing to the paired region that is East Asia, located in Hong Kong. Similarly, you can also see the resource groups and then the AKS TFVAR files. Essentially, in the resource group files here, then we'll see there are in total 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. There are in total 7 resource groups. One for AKS, one for application gateway, one for the hub, one for the spoke virtual network, and then one's for monitoring, one's for DevOps, one for jump box. Right? So the jump box is just there in case that you were to deploy a private cluster. And then going to the AKS TFVars, then you see there are 1 AKS clusters that is called cluster region 1. So is going to deploy into this resource group AKS underscore RE1. And there is a diagnostic profiles that actually lets it to aggregate logs into a central log analytics workspace. And this cluster, we're going to use an MSI, and we're just going to reference this spoke VNet, as well as we're going to use Azure CNI. There is a few other configurations like a role-based access control and using Active Directory integrations, as well as a few add-ons that we enabled with OMS agents and Azure policies. Right? So you can actually go and have a look. There is actually 2 node pools that we're going to deploy here. One node pool is for the system node pool. So minimum we have 3 nodes. That will be for the critical add-ons, and essentially if you go down, then you see there will be 1 user node pool. So this will be used to host our workload. And this user node pool will have 3 nodes with a max part of 30, and they'll use an ephemeral disk so that it has a performant as well as fast to attach latency. So in general, you can actually view more on the different TFVars that we are defining here. So we have identity access management, we have the application gateway, we have the domain that we are using, the app service domain, in order to buy an actual public domain for ingressing into our applications. We have a definitions of networking for the hub and spoke. We have private DNS zones for AKS ingress, and we have like Azure firewalls to restrict outbound from the AKS clusters to outside the internet, and we have definitions of public IPs as well as Azure Key Vault monitoring. So Azure Bastion in this example I'm showing you is actually optional. So as we are going to deploy a public clusters, so there's no need for Bastion. Well, so for ease of demonstrations, we'll just use a public cluster. Okay, so first and foremost, in order for you to deploy this, you need to log in into your tenant first. So what I'll do is you can either open this repository as inside GitHub code space, or you can actually clone it locally if you have AZCLI or Terraform installed. In case you downloaded it locally and you have neither of those installed, then you can decide to open this VS Code inside a container. Once it's opened inside a container, you should be able to see AZCLI as well as Terraform actually installed, right? Okay, so now imagine that you open it, the dev container, and then you're in the right branch. So what first that you need to do is do a AZ login -t Terraform, and then log in into your specific tenant, right? So first I do a login. Again, yeah, and actually log in. Yeah. Okay. Make sure that you are opening the right README first. So let me sign in here real quick, and then so I'm gonna do the standalone one. So I'm opening the README of the standalone, and right now I'm at the Terraform stage. So that is the place to do with the AZ login. Okay. And then you make sure that after logging in, you are setting the right subscription for you to deploy your construction set into. Right? Okay, so what you do right now is you're going to do detect which subscription that you are is applicable to you. So for my case, that will be this one. Landing zone AKS, and then what I'm going to do is AZ account set -s and then paste, right? So when I do that, I'm in the right account. So what I'm going to do next is follow the instruction here, right? So there are now required for you to be in the right standalone folder, which is this folder, right? So you could either copy, the absolute path here, and then you can cd and paste it here, or you can follow the instruction here, right? So once I'm in the standalone, what I need to do is I need to recursively find all of the configurations file under this configuration folder. So what it will do is it will search in this configuration folders and find all of the TF-var files, right? So when you echo this TF-var, parameters, what it will show you is the concatenations of all the -var files and then the TF-vars under this configuration folder. What next that you need to do is you need to Terraform init upgrade. What it does is it will initialize your Terraform and downloading all of the necessary providers for you to deploy your construction set. Okay. So one other thing that I have done previously that you might not have in your case is I have deployed this previously. So you see there is a TF state that actually is stored on my local clusters, on my local clone of the repository. So what I need to do is I kind of need to rename this so that it doesn't take the default anymore, so that I can come back to it later. But when I rename this, then what it does is Terraform will recognize that I'm doing a greenfield deployment of the construction set. So I'm starting from 0, right? So once you initialize it, so what you need to do is follow the README again at Terraform. Let me show I'm setting that. Okay, so I'm gonna evaluate that Terraform apply and then taking in the parameters files that I had earlier. What I do is I run this command. What it does is it will detect whether there is a Terraform state. If there isn't, then it's gonna create a new one, and it's gonna compare and refresh my current login subscriptions, right? So let's just wait for a while for Terraform to start planning, and it will eventually apply my resources.